This is The Space Shot, episode 353 for May 2nd, 2018. Perceptions, Principles, and Action. I'm John Molnix. Hey everyone, I got a bit ahead of myself on the schedule for today, and I wasn't looking at my scripts correctly when I stated that today's episode was going to be about the first flight of Endeavour. That's on the 7th, and that's what I get for not having enough coffee when I recorded yesterday's episode. So, while I've already written that episode and have the content ready for that day, we'll be talking about it on the 7th, not the 2nd. Over the past few weeks, I've been gearing up for Season 2. I've been reading a lot more, and it's been a lot of fun. I just finished Bringing Columbia Home, the untold story of a lost space shuttle and her crew. This book is a must-read if you're interested in the shuttle program and in the aftermath of a painful chapter in the American space program. The stories of the everyday American citizens that became involved in the recovery effort is touching. Mike Leanbach and Jonathan Ward have created an account that's emotionally moving, historically significant, and deeply personal. While reading this book, there were a lot of times I had to stop for a moment to collect myself. The stories of the recovery effort are profoundly moving, and they make me proud to be an American. I'm at a loss for words here for my review, so trust me on this. Buy this book, read it, and let me know what your thoughts are on it. Today's schedule got a little bit jumbled up, and for the rest of the day, I'm focusing on some housekeeping items for the podcast and for some work here at home. I work full-time at my day job with AT&T, and that keeps me exceedingly busy. So my days off are not only incredibly precious, but they are filled to the brim with reading, writing, and things to do at home. Part of the process of creating a podcast every day for nearly the past year has been me learning precisely what I'm capable of doing when I set my mind to something. Managing my time and not wasting it on trivial things has brought a focus and a clarity that's unlike anything I've ever experienced until now. I've talked about this a little bit before if you've been listening to the podcast for a while now. I've been reading a lot of non-space related content over the past year. One of the quick daily books that I take a minute or two to read from each day is The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. When I started writing today's episode, I hadn't read that book for today, so imagine my surprise at the content of today's page. It's a fitting tie-in. Epictetus says in his discourses to, quote, "First, tell yourself what kind of person you want to be. Then, do what you have to do. For in nearly every pursuit, we see this to be the case. Those in the athletic pursuit first choose the sport they want, and then do that work. In my case, the sport I want is communications, writing, and podcasting. I've done the work of writing, recording, and editing, and it's what's taken me to this point." I'm going to recommend another book for today, and it's one I've suggested before. The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday is worth buying on the Kindle app. That way you've got a digital copy of this daily reader with you in your pocket. As I prepare for Season 2, I've been asking myself what's important to me and how I want to integrate that into next season. I'm excited where things are going. I'm creating a new editorial calendar that's going to draw upon all of the work I've done over the past year and expand on it in new and exciting ways. I started the podcast on May 15th of 2017 and had literally come up with the idea for this podcast the day before the first episode. There are days like today when I get mixed up a bit, but hey, we're all human, and I end up having to talk about something that's completely different than I had anticipated. I'm glad this happened today because this episode has given me an opportunity to think and to write about the actions that I've taken over the past 50-plus weeks. One last quote from the Daily Stoic. Holiday notes that, quote, "Our perceptions and principles guide us in the selection of what we want, but ultimately our actions determine whether we get there or not. I'm happy to say that my actions have taken me to the goal that I set for myself on May 14th, 2018. My actions will also make sure the podcast goes into the future for years to come, so to everyone that listens, Thanks for being a part of the podcast family. I hope all of you have a fantastic rest of your day. I appreciate each and every one of you that listen to the podcast every day. I'd be incredibly grateful if you could share the podcast with your friends and family. Tag one of them and let them know about your favorite episode. I'd also really appreciate it if you could venture into the Apple Podcasts app or your podcast app of choice and leave a review for The Space Shot. A steady stream of reviews helps ensure The Space Shot is more visible in the Apple Podcasts app. As always, the show notes have more information on today's episode. You can hit me up on Instagram and Twitter. Find me at John Molnix. I'm always up to chat. You can also connect with me on Facebook. Just search The Space Shot or check out the links in the show notes and you'll find me. I'm John Molnix, and I'll catch you on the flip side.